What's that? Yeah, doesn't matter. Look, we'll crack on. Obviously, my name's Matt. I'm going to be, in a sense, hosting today. My knowledge in the whole lighting realm isn't that great. I've only been doing a computer animated display for, well, I've only actually put one display up over the last 3 years, but that's not because of my fault. Well, actually, yes, it is, but I blame work, and we'll go through that in just a moment. So this is just the introduction to the Adelaide Mini at the moment. Please just take note of the first couple of slides. After that, we'll move into some general discussion. I've put a schedule on everyone's table there, so you should be able to just follow along. The whole plan for this weekend isn't so much to stick to the scheduled timings, okay? I find myself, especially in my current position at work, I'm still getting feedback, but that's all right, that practical or hands-on demonstrations is always a lot better than just sitting in front of a PowerPoint and having death by PowerPoint, okay? So if you've got questions, by all means, put your hands up and ask. And through the experience that we've got here from the different software users and the different hardware users, we should be able to answer it pretty well off. Okay, we've also got chat up at the moment, which you can see up on the TV behind me. Today we've got 3 MCs for the event. Okay, you've got the Master of Ceremonies for myself, you've got the Master of Computers, which is going to be Ryan, he's doing all the streaming work. Okay, and we've also got the Master of Chat over the side, which is Ed. Okay, so we'll crack on anyway. So what we're going to go through today, obviously the venue itself, what you see here is we're inside the pavilion at Sunnybow Function Centre. If you need to use any of the facilities, please do so. Bars or off limits, I should say. So just stay away from there, but it should be opened. I think Ed said maybe at lunchtime if people wanted a soft drink or a beer or something similar. The safety side of the house, obviously we've got some fire exits here, fire exits down the sides, okay, and also the main door that you came in. If you just head straight out to the car park where most of you would have parked this morning, okay, we'll just meet up there, make sure that we haven't left anyone in here on fire, okay, and we'll go from there. The toilets, if you're looking for the toilets, straight down the door, off to the side, okay, there's male and females there, just use those, just be, even though the door's open now, just be mindful to keep the outside doors closed. Designated areas for the filthy smokers like myself, okay, you've got the undercovered area out there, use that for your smoking habits, not inside. I'll refrain for today. And as I mentioned before, the schedule itself, it is fluid. The event actually wouldn't have gone forward if we didn't have kind donations and support from some of the local businesses and also international businesses to assist. So I just want to publicly thank at the moment Ed and Sunnybow Function Centre, obviously for allowing us to use this facility, also providing us lunchtime, morning tea, afternoon tea as well, so coffee and whatnot for the whole day or for the whole duration. Audio visual devices, so David AVD on the forums, he's provided a $50 gift prize for the lucky draw, or the door prizes I should say. Astronics, Ned from Astronics has set up a stand just over on the side there. Please look through there. There's the catalogues. There's enough catalogues for one for each person, so please take one of those. He supports the local Christmas community very well. Okay, so if there's things that you need and you need them at a short notice, please go through Ned. He should be here later today as well, maybe so you can ask him any questions about any other stock that he's got. Also like to thank Sam Devices. They've provided us a Pixel controller for today as a door prize, so thanks very much for that. Myself, I've chucked in a couple of ray boards, which are the 27 channels, so that's also going as the door prizes. Ryan's Christmas lights, he's provided quite a number of different things here, including some ACL mugs and things like that. He's also provided a lot of the work when it comes to the name tags and all of the production side of the house, so thanks very much for that. J1 Sys, so Ed over in, I think he's Kentucky or somewhere like that, he's provided us a P2 for today. Okay, so there's another Pixel controller. And of course Minion, they're actually providing us today with a free copy of LSP Advanced. Okay, I've got a couple of extra asterisks there because Minion have also come on board for anyone that purchases a copy of LSP during this weekend and 24 hours afterwards, they'll upgrade you to the highest one for free. Okay, so thanks very much. What's that?
LSP Advanced Pro.
Correct. Okay, so they'll move you straight up to there for free. That doesn't attribute to the free prize though either. Okay, so if you get the free prize, you don't get the free upgrade. Okay, yeah, I can see the coins were ticking then. So thanks very much to Fast Eddie. He's the one that actually organised that, but also thanks to Mini On. As I mentioned before, additional thanks to Ryan for his setup work during the planning of this Mini. He's really kept me on track and made me actually do work, which is good. Rob, thanks very much for bringing in that tree. We're going to be utilising that over the next 2 days. Okay, we're going to show you how to set it up inside the software, but also we're going to get it running tomorrow. Okay, so we'll get some blinkiness happening in there. And for the people that are watching or listening online, we'll turn the camera around so you can actually see that tomorrow. Alec, thanks very much for your assistance and the stuff that you're bringing down. Alec will be giving us some demonstrations today, and he'll give you some information on his display setups. Ed, once again, for everything that you're providing here today, thanks. Damo, where's Damo gone? There he is. Damo, new to us, he's going to be going through a presentation for us as well, which is, I think it's going to be very handy for us. It's all about wireframe designs. Alan, where are you? There you are. Yeah, he's come all the way from Bendigo. Basically, he's propping us up. And, of course, everyone else for attending. Thanks very much. So what do we expect from the Mini? Well, the Mini itself, I'll see if I can just move this way without getting feedback. The Mini itself, we're going to go through designing a display, how to actually set it up, not only physically, but also on your computers, okay? So we're going to start off at the basic level, okay, because there are some newcomers here, don't want to aim it at the advanced levels. We're going to go through the wireframe constructions, setting up different elements within 3 different major softwares that we're going to be using. We're going to go through some soldering, some tips and tricks, and for those people that don't know how to, Ryan, solder in general. Okay, we're going to go through some uses of Coro, so we've got some Coro displays around, show you how some tips and tricks with those. Alan's going to go through some networks and what's best for you, for your location, for your display. We're going to move the following day, so Sunday, we're going to move on to our different types of strips, so our Darman, our pixel strips, modules, all those kind of things. Then we're going to move into the basics of sequencing. So for those people that haven't sequenced or are a little bit ambivalent in sequencing, okay, so they're not actually sure how to do things, okay, we're hopefully going to give you a bit of background knowledge or a bit of easy assistance on how to do that. We're going to go through some waterproofing. Ryan, you're going to do that one? No, that's right, I'll do that. Okay, we're going to go through some waterproofing, Lithgow lights. Lithgow lights has actually provided the presentation for that, so that should be very beneficial for us. And to finish off the Sunday, that's when we'll move into the more advanced side of the tips and tricks for the software. So unfortunately we're leaving it to the last chance, but that's the time it's going to really blow out for us because there's going to be a lot of questions for that. So streaming, as I've mentioned, and as everyone should know, we are streaming live today. Okay, so we are streaming from the presenter's laptop with the PowerPoint display, but we've also got the camera. So if you're in front of the camera, feel free to smile, and these guys online will laugh and make fun of us. As I said, feel free to connect to the internet. Okay, just stay off YouTube for us. Okay, so why me? Why am I talking here today? I've only been doing this for a year. I've just come from Brisbane, so I've got a brand new display this year. Okay, however, I don't mind hosting events. I've got a lot of people here that will back me up with the information that I need to give to you guys, okay, to make this beneficial. Okay, and why other reason, but why not? Okay, so we'll move on. About me, I've been married for 10 years now, I've got 2 kids, I'm in the Defence Forces, I move a lot. Okay, I love computers, Christmas lights and the family, not necessarily in that order, okay, but if you speak to my wife, I don't see her very often apparently. I had a competition with my uncle years ago. Well, not a competition, I saw his display and I said, I've got to better that. Okay, everything he does, I have to do better, and vice versa. So seeing his display, which was literally just multi-function controllers that he pushed the button on, okay, I had to go one step more. So I devised a 5-year plan. Okay, the 5-year plan was to get my lights dancing to music. Didn't know how I was going to do that, but I eventually decided to go with it. So my first Christmas display was planned for 2009. Static display completely. Okay, it was built out of big W strings, and that's basically what it looked like. I was really impressed. Okay, it was awesome. Okay, and it twinkled. I had to run around and touch all the multifunction controllers to make it happen. Okay, because I knew it was so awesome. Sorry, can you guys see? I'm not in your way too much. Yeah. Because I thought it was so awesome, I decided to go out and buy even more strings. Okay. So I purchased another 6 or 8 of these strings, and I put up the next year's display. Okay, so that started me in the, picking up these big W strings and really wanting to get on board. Then unfortunately I found ACL, okay? I say unfortunately because my bank balance is always is struggling, okay? And because of certain people on ACL, and those people know who they are, they've made my brain melt, okay? 2010 brought me into trying some Coro cutouts, some design elements, okay? And this was my drinking Santa initially. I thought he looked good. Unfortunately, he didn't light up at night time, so I decided to put 100 LEDs poked through him, and all I got was a silhouette. Okay, so during the day you could see him, during the night you couldn't. 2010, I actually got some compliments. Yeah, some people were walking past going, that looks really nice, that looks excellent. I think they were being a little bit jovial in it, but it still spurred me on to increase and make it better. Work butted its head in. Okay, they said, right, you've got to move house. So I moved from Victoria, I think I moved up to Queensland at that stage. And then, just to really, put an extra nail in the coffin, they sent me overseas. Okay, right over the Christmas period. So I'd ordered all my stuff through Law at the time, LOR. Okay, luckily for me, there was a big delay on the delivery of controllers that year. Okay, apparently they didn't have enough in stock. Go figure. Okay, so I called them up, I sent them an email saying, look, there's other people in Australia wanting these boards, send it to them himself, cancel my order, which they did, okay, and I was happy about that. So whilst I was overseas, I was over in Timor, I decided to put on a light show there, okay. That was my entire light show. It's one of the best I've ever seen. The video didn't come out too well because there was just so many moving colours, okay, but I know Alan likes that a lot, okay. What's that, sorry? Yep, okay, and that's how it will be. So 2012, I'm back in Australia. I've got some money, I've bought all these pixel strips, modules, you name it, okay. Superman has convinced me to go pixels, okay. All I wanted to do was 16 channels worth of Law with my big W strings, that's all I wanted. Steve said, hey, try these pixel things, they're easy. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Okay. Granted, I got my head around it, I started to understand it a little bit more, and we moved on from there. I was planning everything. Everything was getting cut to size, soldered, I was learning things. There was YouTube videos being made for me just so I could actually understand how things were done. I spent lots of money on the controllers, the Coro, the cable, you name it. Then work butted its head in again. Okay, they decided, we sent you away last Christmas, guess what? We're going to send you away again this Christmas. Yeah, I was pretty peeved. Okay, I wanted to go, but I didn't want to go purely for my Christmas light factor. Okay, I'd spent so much time setting this up, designing it, I wanted to see it actually blink. Word came to the party after they sent me away and said, look, we'll send you back really early in December. I was like, thanks very much. So, the time that I spent actually pre-planning my display for that year, and it started in February or March I think it was, actually benefited me come December 4th when I arrived back in Australia, because 3 days later my display was up and running and dancing. Okay, and that's a credit to Steve, Superman, because he came around to my place and he assisted me putting all the display up. The display went up in 2 hours, okay, which was good. All this plug and play stuff that we're starting to all move into just makes things so much easier. Then without any tests, I decided that I needed to put my display out there, okay. My neighbour told me that there was a elderly folks home, they were getting a bus to come around and see my display. Yeah, he lied to me, he was just joking, he just wanted my display up faster, so I didn't get a testing phase. Okay, so lights went on. Okay, yeah, there were some issues, okay, but only minor. So for the display that year, these were all the things that I actually was using, okay, and there wasn't a lot of stuff. I was only running one controller, okay, 2 power supplies. It had over 2,400 channels worth of stuff, and it was all pixel. There was no dumb modules in any way, shape or form. There was no rope lights, nothing. It was all 2801 12-volt pixels and modules. I had a disapproving wife, okay. She thought it was a waste of money, okay. She thought it was a waste of time, and she wanted to see me back inside the house as opposed to in the garage working. That was until she saw them dance for the first time, okay. She then understood, she loved it. Okay, so she wanted to actually add her touches to it. She went out and she bought all these extra string lights and stuff and decided to put them up inside the window of our front house. Okay, she bought some blow-up Santa Clauses and things like that. So that ended up to be my display for 2012. Obviously not all lights are on there, and it's an earlier photo of the display, but that gave me the biggest smile possible. Okay, seeing that up there. But not only did it give me the smile, it gave all those people that actually came and saw my display a really big smile, and there was people repeating their visits. Okay, so for me, that's what it's all about, making people smile. Okay, I don't care about money, I don't care about that kind of stuff. It is actually there for the Christmas spirit and to see kids' smiles. So, like a kangaroo or an emu, there was no stepping backwards for me. Okay, started planning future elements, making them bigger, better. Okay, this year I'm looking to introduce a mega tree, just like Rob's got in the middle there, probably a little bit. I'm looking at a 2D one anyway. Okay, I've got another new house, work butted their head in and moved me again, so I've got a bigger canvas now. Okay, so I've got more places to put lights and to do, so I'm happy about that. I'll be looking at different ways to sequence. Obviously, my software of choice is Lightshow Pro. Okay, so there's different ways that I can use that. Okay, and using the Nutcracker software or X-Lights is one of the ways that I'm looking at introducing too. And obviously, coming to Adelaide, my hometown, okay, I get to meet more people. Okay, people that are as passionate as I am. Are there any questions about me, the introduction, and the facility itself? All right, guys. What I'd like from everyone here, we can probably move on to the camera now, are we? Okay, is basically just ask from the audience what you guys hope to get out of this weekend, what you guys want to hear about, because there's no point me standing up here talking purely about my display, okay, because I'm biased, okay? I want to find out from everyone here what you guys want to hear or want to learn about. Now, obviously, I know that, Isaac, there's a lot of stuff that you want to learn about, and there's a lot of information that's been passed to you already, but is there anyone else here that has key information that they want to learn? No? Okay, well that 30 minutes is going to go out the door. Excellent. Okay, what we'll move on with then is designing a display. So if you give me just a couple of minutes, I'll just change the slides over and we'll go through designing a display. Now, whilst I have got a PowerPoint presentation for it, it's actually a group discussion because, as I said, my designing of a display is going to be different to everyone else's. Okay, so that's where I'm going to be drawing from anyone that's got a display to tell me how they do theirs as well. Is there much information coming from the chat at the moment? Good. Obviously it's full of lots of useful information so far. Okay, so designing a display. There's a lot of things that you obviously got to take into consideration when you're starting up a display, wanting to produce some sort of display. And the way that I look at this is go through some sequence of steps, because I move a lot, so I have to start from scratch basically every time. Okay, the most important thing to do is take a photo. Take a photo of your house, jump on Google Maps or whatever, and just get a blank canvas for you to actually draw, okay, what you want your display to look like. Draw it, okay, whether that's freehand drawing or you use some sort of software to draw it, paint, that works fine. So you can see a visual representation of what your display is or what you hope your display is going to look like. For me, this is what I do, okay, I just chuck it into PowerPoint, throw in my elements, lengths, distances, you know, what I want my display to look like. So this is my new house that I've just moved into, okay, and this is how I'm basically wanting to set it up. I apologise if you can't see everything, but what I do is I go around and I measure everything, okay, down to the millimetres, okay, to see how things work there. Ryan, we've got some guys just rock up. Take the time to carefully measure, okay, that's where it's really going to come into play. You mismeasure things or you rush things, it's going to cost you not only time, but it's going to cost you money as well, especially when we're using LED strips and things like that. Okay, so take the time to measure. Once you've measured, measure again. And then before you do any cutting or anything like that, measure a final time. Okay, when you get your measurements, that enables you to actually calculate what kind of lengths of lights you're going to need. So it helps you attribute or guesstimate what your budget's going to be. Okay, so this is where you all wrap it into one session. You can also start to plan where you're going to start putting your controllers, and we're going to go through the networks at a later stage, but you know, obviously different lengths of cable are going to cause possible data interruptions, so the shortest distances that you can have there will actually be more beneficial. So placement of your controllers is going to be, you know, paramount. So this is where you insert your budget. Okay, not only is it your budget for your lights, your controllers, your cable and your power and all that kind of stuff, but it's for everything else. Okay, all the stuff that we normally wouldn't think about because it's just the extra consumables. So like building a house, grab your budget, then add 20%. Okay, that 20% will cover, okay, the additional consumables that you haven't thought of. Your cable ties, your tape, extra cable itself, you know, anything that you might have missed, your solder, you know, all these little things, they all add up, okay, but if you plan for it in your budget, okay, it'll make it a little bit easier for you come the breakneck time. For people that are just starting up, don't think that your display is going to be the all singing, all dancing first year up, okay? That's what I started to do. I thought that my display was going to be the biggest, best, you know, Eddie, he had nothing on mine, okay? Then I realised, yeah, exactly. Then I realised that you've got to start small. You've got to understand the stuff, and then you grow. Okay, and that's probably the best way to look at it. Grow your display, don't try to plan for the biggest straight up. Then you decide what kind of lights you're going to use. Now you've got your lengths and all that kind of stuff. Are you going to use your big W and your Kmart strings? Okay, are you going to use your old 240 volt step downs or whatever for your motifs and things like that? Because this is all going to come into play for when you decide what kind of controllers you're going to use. Okay, so what setup practices you're going to need. Are you wanting to be plug and play? If you're wanting to use your 240 volt stuff, okay, plug and play it, all you're going to need to do there, grab yourself your law boards. Okay, your law boards have got 16 channels worth of plug and play. Why not? That might be the easiest way for you to do it. Do you have a little bit of electrical knowledge? Do you understand electricity? I don't, okay? Far from it. If there's a red and a black wire and I touch them together, I get a spark normally, okay? That's all I know. All right, so if you've got the time to actually learn a little bit about that, you could actually save yourselves a lot of hassle and a lot of money in the long term. Do you want everything to be AC powered, so alternating current, so the 240 volt stuff? Okay, and there is rope lights and all that kind of stuff that's still around that is just pure 240 volt. Or do you want to have that in a DC, so a lower voltage, so it's safer not only for you, but for everyone else that might be viewing your display? Okay, so you need to start thinking about what board you're going to use, if it's going to be an AC board or a DC board. Then you start thinking about the costs that are associated with the different types of lights you're going to use. Are you going to use your big W strings where there's no chips inside them? Are you going to go pixels or dumb RGB or things like that? Because the cost will vary depending on what you decide to choose. So this all attributes to your budget. Once you've decided within your budget what lights you're going to use, that's going to decide for you realistically what controllers you're going to use. Okay? Old lights, so your ones that are step-down transformers or your 240 volt lights, if you want to use your plug and play, you're going to be using your law boards. Unless you want to do some soldering, unless you want to do some splitting of the wires, okay, some modifications, remove function controllers, and you'll move on to your DMX style boards, so your Ray channel boards or your AVD boards and things like that. Are you going to buy new lights? And if you are going to buy new lights, are they going to be those old light style, old news? Or are you going to move on to the digital style lights? Are you going to go to RGB lights? Because that's going to change the style of controller that you use as well. If it's digital, you're going to need a pixel controller of some description. Okay, if it's going to be the dumb modules, well, you should be able to actually get away quite easily with your DMX powered boards or your DMX boards. So there's plenty of options. You don't need to be locked into one particular thing. For those lights in a nutshell, okay, you've got your RGB, so your red, green and blue, they're your primary colours, okay? We can change the frequencies of these lights to actually mix and match them, okay, and make any colour that we can possibly think of, okay? You've got different types of strip. You've got your 3-channel strip, so your RGB strip. Okay, these are just your 3 channels that controls the entire section. Okay, you can't control individual LEDs or clusters of LEDs. Usually they have 4 wires. They have 1 for each of the negative of the channel, so the RGB, and they also have 1 common anode. You can then move on to your SPI strip, or your digital strip, okay, your serial peripheral interface. Okay, that's the one with the little black IC inside it. Okay, these ones here are normally 3 channels per section. Now the section is usually 1 module. Okay, it can be 3 LEDs, it can be 1 LED. Okay, so you can control a smaller amount, but have them still at a longer distance. So some of the different types of IC chips that we use for these digital strips are 2801, and there's a lot of people that use these, I do. Okay, they have 4 wires. Then we've also got the 2811s, which are basically removed from the clock, which has only got the 3 wires. Okay, so it just sends the data down the data line itself. You've also got your 2812 Bravos, which is the newer one that's come out. I haven't used any or seen any of these yet, but it's basically an IC chip that's located underneath the LED itself, so you can control each individual LED that way. Okay, and that's, I don't know, has anyone got any information on those that they can pass on? No? Looking around? The most common LED that we're getting at the moment is the 5050 SMD. Okay, the 5050 stands for the 5.0 millimetre. Okay, and it's just its dimensions for it. Okay, that inside there will have 3 LEDs itself: the red, the green, and the blue, and that matches the colour. Okay, that makes your colour. There are different types of these LEDs, and they'll be spaced out more. And if you have a look on the ACL website, you'll actually be able to see that kind of stuff from one of Eddie's presentations on RGB lights. Oop, went the wrong way. The costs, this is where it comes down to our budget. The costs vary a lot, okay? Depending on what kind of strip you're going to use. RGB strip is going to be cheaper, okay, than 2811 strip, which is again cheaper than 2801 strip. Do I get those brackets around the right way? Who knows? Looks right. Okay, so as a bit of a price comparison there, 5 metres worth of RGB strip, and this is from Ray's store, guys, you can pick up for approximately $12 for 5 metres. Move that up to the 2811 strip, that's going to cost you about $30, thereabouts, for 5 metres. Okay, move up to the 2801, okay, and we're looking at $50. Okay, and that's just purely because of the construction ways and the chip types that are inside there. Obviously, more wire is going to attribute more cost. Then you move on to the pixel strings, okay, or the nodes themselves. You can pick up a string of 50 count, okay, of 2811 for about $17, and then 2801 for about $18, okay, for 50 counts. It's actually a good deal, 50 for $18 for 2801. Costs are then calculated as per your board, so it's the cost of the board divided by the channels. Now, this looks a little bit messy up here for it, okay. You can see that the Law 16 channel board, the board itself costs $260. Okay, it's only got 16 channels, so if you do the division there, okay, it's costing us $16.25 per channel. Looks or sounds like a lot of money, okay, but you're also paying for the ease of use, okay, and the fact that we're using AC power and things like that. You've got your Ray or your DMX style boards now, your Ray channel and your AVDs. You can see that it breaks down again, okay. And then you look at the pixel side of the house and you think, wow, it's only costing me 3 cents for a channel. Yeah, well, whilst it sounds really good, 3 cents a channel, okay, what you've got to understand is there's a lot of additional costs that will actually go with that to attribute to what you want. 3 channels only equals that much of light, okay, or 1 pixel up there, 1 nodule. Whereas 3 channels on, say, an AVD or a Ray 27 can be all of these lights that you see up in the roof. Okay, so just little things to be considerate about. So in the planning side of the phase, you need to look at obviously the distances to your controllers. Rob, I'm guessing that you've got a controller that sits at the base of your tree or thereabouts. Okay. For me, I've got a central controller that sits basically in the centre of my roof, okay, on the roof itself. That feeds out from there, so I try to make the cable links as minimal as possible. You need to look at weatherproofing, and we're going to talk about waterproofing, weatherproofing later on as well. Choosing the right enclosures, making your own enclosures, waterproofing your lights and things like that. We don't want water to go in there because the expense, or it costs more to actually fix those up. Okay, we're going to talk about network cables, or better yet, Alan's going to talk about network cables, the different types of cables we can use, how you run them, do you run them next to other cables and things like that, okay, because that's going to cause some sort of data interruptions or possible data issues. And we're going to talk also about some data switches, or network switches, okay, so how you're actually going to run all these different boards from the one output of your computer, whether it be a USB or the Ethernet output. Wrong button. That's all I've got for that at the moment, and this is where I'm opening it up to the floor for ideas on how people actually plan their own displays. So have we got a law person here at the moment that can give a brief description of how they do their display? No one wants to stand up?
I used all that.
You want to?
Last year.
We'll just give you a microphone. We want to hear.
Is it working? Right. Yeah. Okay, last year was my first year on using animating lights and stuff, and I actually didn't find the ALC. I found it too late. I'd actually bought law stuff, so I bought 4 16-channel AC boards, so it gave me 64 channels. And I bought a heap of the Mighty lights. I don't know if anybody's... Mighty bright lights. I don't know if anybody's come across those. But they're waterproof, they're excellent lights, but they're really expensive. So that was my display. I bought, it cost me a fortune. It cost me an arm and a leg. I had to work heaps of overtime to get the money to buy the stuff. But when I actually done it all up, and I made 4 little trees.
Little mini trees?
Yeah, mini trees. I put 4 sets of lights on each mini tree, red, green, blue and yellow. I did 2 arches with 8 red, green, blue, yellow, red, green, blue, yellow. And then I sat and did all sequence and stuff, and I had stars like those stars over there, a couple of those, bought bigger ones, and a couple other bits and pieces. And then I sequenced it all, but when it came together it was just, to me it was magnificent.
Yep. So did you have a picture in your head of how you wanted to set up your display?
Well, I basically knew what I wanted to do. I actually was going to put some stuff on the roof, but the wife decided that she was going to buy solar. So that stuffed that up. So I just ran them down through because I've got a veranda at the front, so I ran all the lights down through the veranda. It actually looked quite nice.
Yeah, good.
And that was my experience. But it cost me about $5,500 all up.
And that's just for your first year, was it?
Yeah.
$5,500. So that's using law boards and mighty bright lights.
I mean, I went overboard. I bought, I don't know, about 100 sets of mighty bright lights, and they're $40 a set. You know? Yeah. But this year I'm going to incorporate those with the P12S and the other bits and pieces, so it should be a bit better. I've got Cos to help me, so.
Actually, that's a good little segue there. I should just mention that all those people that have ordered boards, okay, for today or from Ed, they've come through. If you paid for it, you get yours today. How's that?
Mine's paid for.
There's only one person that hasn't paid at the moment, or as of yesterday hadn't paid, so yeah, I'll give those out afterwards when you want it. All right, my display. Sorry. That
was my experience last year.
How did you find that though? I mean, did you feel that you were going in dark on it, or?
Oh, no, I spent heaps of time doing bits and pieces and did a little bit of research. I knew exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, but it was actually, and then the plug and play side made it easier. I mean, I had to buy like probably 100 extension cords, different lens extension cords, because I don't know nothing about electricity.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it was just easy just to buy it all. Cost me a lot of money, buy it all, plugged it all in, switched it on, and it worked the first time.
Oh, excellent.
It was just like, oh, shit.
And that's one of the bonuses, isn't it, for plug and play?
Plug and play, for easy use, it was just magnificent.
Yep.
It cost a lot of money, but it was really good.
Okay, and now you're looking at the P12.
Now I've got the P12. Well, getting the P12 today.
Yep.
And
are you staying with LOR software, or are you moving?
I haven't decided yet.
Well, maybe today you might win one. And
if I win one, no. I had a go at the LSP, but you just don't get long enough on the trial. On the trial to give you a good.
Yeah, give it a good nudge.
I mean, I used law for probably 2 or 3 months before I actually got all my stuff.
Yep.
So I'm sort of starting to get my head around it. But the LSP just blew me away. Yeah,
there's a couple of people in here that spun away, haven't they, Alan? Yeah. It's all because of the crash factor, isn't it? Yeah.
That's why I give you a head.
Yeah, it's sort of like saying a Holden or a Ford man, isn't it? It's, so that's on the law side of the house. We've got some... What's that, sorry? LOA, yep, the law side. I'll pass that over. Thanks for that, Ron.
No worries.
Feel free to heckle. I like heckling, especially when it's towards LOA users and Alan in particular.
Okay, I'm Len from Len's Christmas Lights, and I've been doing it now for probably I've been doing Christmas lights for many, many years, and I started probably 5 years ago on the LOR side of things, because I was a bit like what you said earlier on, Matt. It was interesting to sort of see the Christmas lights when you sort of started seeing them in America. Now, how can we do it? That was too expensive. And when everybody saw that YouTube of Wizards in Winter,
Yep.
it gets everybody in. No doubt about it, that particular one. So I went into LOR, like a lot of people, very naive, didn't know much about electricity. Let's get the 240 volts. So I bought half a dozen boards, thinking this is great. Like Ron says, learned how to go and buy heaps of extension cords. Then I needed lights. So what do I need? I'll go and get these fairy lights. So I lighted 10, I went and saw them. They had lights and said, we could sell them for $1 a box, but they're all multicoloured. So my mother-in-law, my friends and wife spent 3 months taking every single fairy light out and making single string lights. So that was time. I had a lot of friends. So we got that together and a few other things and how we were going to make this, and I fell in love with the big tree, so I made this tree sort of thing. And Christmas time come and I had a big switch on and at 8:30 and I've still got 30 plugs to plug into all these things, and I'm not knowing how it works and how I sequenced it. Well, that was a big headache, and I'm pleased that you guys talk about it tomorrow, but that was a big headache. So what I did was I found out it was cut and paste was good from off the internet. It did work because you just sort of then modified it, and it just was enough to get enough songs that night. So at about 20 to 9, I plugged it in, and just like Ron said, it was fantastic. There was no testing, no nothing.
Yep.
But the learning from that was it was 240 volt, and the amount of money to spend in that, and it was pretty dangerous. So the next year I bought DC. And along my journey, I've switched to a lot of DC. Ed's been a very good guider in that way, because to know the difference between 24 volt, 12 volt, to a dumb person like me that doesn't play, it's a bit daunting. And
I'm hearing it too, don't worry.
Yeah, and when you start hearing LSP, DSP, I thought sort of like to get into that. Last meeting last year was fantastic. That opened my eyes up a lot. But at the same token, I would have loved to have changed a lot. I have got RGB in my display today, but still it's the crispy fleck of the sparkly lights that make a little bit of difference too.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I think if everybody went RGB, it might be a bit of a difference. But over the years, I reckon now I've got something like nearly 500 channels of LOR.
Wow. Wow.
And the mistakes that I keep making were little things like that. Somebody said 24 volt batteries. Okay, batteries, clear current, all this. Oh, great. So I was able to get a couple of 12 volt, put them in series to make 24 volt, put them all together, spent 3 days making beautiful, all nice and tickety-boo. The blues wouldn't work.
Right.
Not enough current. so you have to give that away. And then, but I eventually got it all sorted out. But things that I found was, I went to buy Christmas lights, Big W. Oh great, end of the year sale, go and get those. And this particular year, Coles had a set of lights out. One thing I did notice, the LEDs were getting further apart. But Coles had a heap of lights there, and I thought they look all right. So I waited for the end of the year for the Christmas sale. Don't chuckle at this one, but I went to Coles day after Christmas and I said, "Oh, you got a lot of lights, do you? What if I bought them all cheap?" And they said, "No, that's the price." But I tell you what, next week they're going to be out cheap. They're out for $5 from $20. So I came home with 100 boxes.
And we wonder why we can't get any.
And it's after the Christmas sale, because well, that was great. The only trouble is I have to buy more boards.
Of course.
The only other thing too, I found out they were 36 volt.
More different power supplies, different setups.
As a sense, the money just gets more and more and more.
Yep.
And LOR, I'll give them a lot of credit, they were good. This year it worked out that they have us 2 sales a year, and that is the time to get the sales. And this particular year at the sale there, I thought, I know what, I'll get the boards in, And I was sitting there, got my time thing, because it started at midnight or 10 o'clock in the morning, took my stuff to it, sitting there, right, oh bloody, trying to press the button, oof, missed out. Had it all in the thing, so. But the one thing I did get was the new MP3 player part thing. But so, I thought, I'm getting that over there. So I emailed them and I just asked them, I said, oh, what if I buy some boards at the normal price? They wrote back and said, tell you what, we'll give you the prices at the June sale, $10 each off. So that paid for the freight and everything over there.
Yeah,
Those are the sort of things that I found was with the LOR stuff. It's nice and easy to plug and play, put it in and work it out. The design, when you're working out a design, I've been going for 5 years. I don't know how my friends, my elves I call them, stay with me, because I keep changing it. And how you change it is because you see something, you fall in love with it. You still got to spend the time and the money to change everything.
Of course you do, yeah.
So like with my mega tree, I'm pretty impressed with it. It's over 5 metres tall.
Wow.
And it's got red, blue, green, yellow. And first year I just put red, green and blue on it. Then I decided to put white on it, so I pull all the strings down. The following year I decided to put yellow, so I pulled them all down again. But when we pulled them all down there, the lengths were a little bit different. So this year we pulled them all apart and re-stretched and measured them all, so it all looks nice and it falls lovely now. Those are the sort of things. Ed come around one year, I'm still putting boards together. Because you think you give yourself plenty of time, and you don't.
No.
You just leave it to the last minute, and you know, you just think, and Ed's been in the same situation one year. He was pulling his head out. Gentleman there, he was building his for 12 months. And every day I'd see him, or when I spoke to him, and I'm still working away, working 6 hours building, soldering, and never had time to sequence. And what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But by cutting and paste, we got out of it, didn't we, Ed? It looked good, but it is, at the end of the day, no matter how much work, it does look pretty.
Yep.
Yeah, and nobody's going to go along and say, that pixel's out, that light's out. They don't do anything.
No, as I was mentioning to Ed yesterday, the only person that goes, that pixel's out is yourself. And it killed me last year when I lost 1 pixel with the red. So.
But the technology today is really, you really got to go down one particular style, I think, and really work out, because to change from one to the other, it's fairly expensive, because you go down the path so far. So.
Yep.
But I will stick with it, because I spent so much money on it, and I'm happy with it.
So it all comes down to the planning side, doesn't it?
And buying over the year, you know, and just talking to a lot of people. Ed, he's been Ned, from Mostronics.
Yep.
Getting the right people have been really fantastic. Ned from Mostronics, you really need to get there. I'll give him a plug. He is really good for prices and so forth. And you need something in a hurry. Ned will get it there, and he'll go out of your way for you. You know.
Yeah, excellent.
And a few other places. And if you know people that can get it cheap, just let other people know, because if you go to Zippy Ties, you're talking not 50, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands. And, you know, where can you get them cheap? I found a place called AJ Electronics, which do wholesale, and they're very cheap. Some people get them from China. But you don't know the way the dollar's going down.
Yeah, exactly right.
Tomorrow's not going to be.
There's another mob over in Perth, I think it is, zipties.com.au or something like that, and they do a good deal, but you have to order $50 minimum kind of thing. And
you know, what sort of wire do you use? You know, as I tried to speaker wire, I use countless rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls, because I've ended up making looms that I just plug in one end. It took time to do it, but all my boxes are now, they're all numbered. I just go plug, 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 unplugging them all and rolling them all in. Display, where was I going to put the boxes? Well, I'm paying $90, $100 for a board. Do I want to put them in? No, I don't want to get them pinched. If I put them out in the lawn, somebody's got to come along, so I'll put them all in the shed. And you've got to run them all the way back.
yeah.
And that becomes a mess of its own, you know, so there's a lot of thinking to do with how big you want to be, because you'll end up going bigger every year. You'll end up buying something and doing something else and that. But if you do have friends, make sure they're nice friends and look after them well.
Ron reckons he's finished.
Don't use clear cable ties.
Yeah.
They're not UV stabilised.
Just move over.
It's quite often die within the month you've got your lights up. Yeah, well, it can be any amount of time, but the clear ones will die. None of them are UV stabilised. Most of the black ones are UV stabilised. So you'll actually get at least a year or two out of the black ones. No, the clear ones are bad.
But the clear ones look so much better on yeah, exactly. Well, you can't see them. You just put them into the grass, go over with a lawnmower. So I only use the black ones anyway, unless I've run out of those and then I nick them off the neighbour. So. What's that?
Same thing happens with the gutter clips, they break too.
Oh, yeah. Don't use gutter clips anyway. Anyone else got any input just for that at the moment? We might just take a quick break anyway. And they're looking at my crutch. That's interesting. I hope it was good for you. It felt good for me. So we'll just have a quick break here if no one else has got anything else to add just on the designing or setup of the display. The next side of the house, what we'll move on to, Damo is going to give us a demonstration and a presentation on wireframe and how to construct and things like that, wireframe objects. I definitely want to know this because I don't know how to weld. Hell, I can't even stick two things together with glue, so it'll be very interesting. Just one other housekeeping point that I should mention. Tomorrow morning, I'm guessing a lot of people came in through the entrance just over to my right here. Okay, tomorrow that won't actually be open, so the best way to actually access this venue, or the only place tomorrow to access this venue, will actually be on Gallipoli Drive, which is over this side of the venue, okay, and it'll be the last gate. Okay, so if you just come down Gallipoli Drive, it avoids South Road for you, which is even better. Okay, Gallipoli Drive, there's an entranceway there and there's a car park just over there too, so for tomorrow, if you're coming along, please come in that way because you need to use your man's nudge bar at that gate down there to get in. Alrighty, so guys, we'll break now for, we'll say 5 minutes break, 10-minute break enough for you? Yeah, so we'll break for 10 minutes, grab yourselves a coffee, drink, toilet break, and